Okay, welcome everybody to the Greenfork Food for Thought podcast. Today's guest is Melissa Rose. She is a massage therapist, she's a mother, she's a musician, she's an amazing woman who does a lot of great stuff. I've worked with her in the past. She's given me massages. She's the only one that's gotten me to say uncle. Yeah, with the elbow. She dug her elbow into my back and it released. It felt great, but it was the only time I had to say, okay, chill. I feel like I have a high pain threshold, but that one day was just like, must have been some stored shit in there that needed to come out.
Got to release the demons, you know?
Yeah. My demons just happen to be in my like rhomboids and traps up here. So, but anyways, Melissa, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started into all this.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you for having me. So massage kind of found me.
Yeah.
I had been working at Circus Cafe, as you know, and I got to a place with that where I'm like, this is not a healthy lifestyle that I'm living. I know I need a change and I don't know what to do, you know? And so I was kind of open and receptive to the idea of something new, but the idea of going back to school at the time was concerning because tuition fees are crazy and, you know, I really didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So inevitably I ended up at the alley bar that night and my friend Erica met me down there and she calls me Mush because I'm very sentimental and she goes, Mush, you know what we should do? And I was like, what? And she goes, we should be massage therapists. And I was like, yeah. So over pictures of Labatt Blue and Silly Straws, we came up with a business plan. She told me about the school down in Albany on Wolf Road, Center of Wellness and Massage Therapy. Mm-hmm. I went to the orientation. She said she would meet me there. It didn't work out that way. And she said she would catch the next one. And I was hooked. It was the perfect place for me to learn without feeling like it was a traditional educational program. Yeah. And they kind of leaned heavy on like the woo-woo stuff. And I was like, ooh, crystals and lotions and potions.
Yeah.
It's a lot of science.
Yeah.
And, you know, so they start you out with foundations and it just kind of transitions into this really wonderful, wonderful program. And I fell in love with it immediately. Yeah. It's something that I find I'm naturally talented at, which makes it even more fun, to be honest.
For sure. It's not so much of a struggle.
Right. Yeah. And I just learned so much about the body. And what's amazing about the body to me is it's ever changing, ever expanding. We think we know all of these specific things. And then 10 years down the line, it's like, boom. Yeah. Oh, fascia isn't to be discarded. It's actually an intellectual part of your makeup. And it's very important. You know, and just these little findings, science is amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is. And the body's amazing. Like you said, I mean, my own journey, I've gone through a bunch of injuries. And just when you think like, oh, I'm good, then you get another injury and something pops up and it's always changing. So it's always a little bit of a struggle, but it does allow you to kind of learn more about yourself, you know, and your body and having to slow down. We were just talking, you know, about slowing down this time of year. Things like that can kind of force you to slow down. And yeah, I mean, it's amazing that everything that we're learning and just experiencing together can be crazy. So you've been doing massage for quite a while now. How's that journey going?
Yeah. So I started the program back in 2014. I graduated in 16 and my massage career now is like 11 years old. And I've been at Centered Massage now for 5 years as of last month. So it's been such a big journey because like, it's not just learning about massage. I'm learning how to work with people. I'm learning about the general public. I'm learning about mental health and trauma and all of these different things. Like, and it's a micro and macro understanding of the world because we're all so impacted by such seemingly small things, but it's like we're so interconnected at the same time. So my massage journey, like I always knew I wanted to be my own boss. Mm-hmm. So I kind of right out of the gate got an assistant manager role at a little spot in Ballston Spa, the Medberry. Mm-hmm. And I did that for a year, fully knowing like this was not, it was just a learning experience, you know?
Yeah.
And I transitioned out of that and kind of floundered for a while, was in and out of restaurant work still over at Brook Tavern. And about 5 years ago, like I had been a client of Dan's and he was like, you should just come work here. And I was like, I could never
Yeah.
work for myself. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And he just took me under his wing. And honestly, it's been the best fit. I love the atmosphere. I love my clients.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm an independent contractor, so I make my own hours.
Yeah.
And, but it was kind of wild because, the pandemic happened and I was
Yeah.
supposed to go back to this big spa I was working at. And 2 weeks beforehand, I was like, I am so sorry. I'm not coming back. I'm going to pursue my own path.
Yeah.
And, so I took the jump, and then about 8 months into that, I became pregnant. And
Yeah.
that was a big transition because not only am I supporting myself at that point, I'm like, whoa, big life change. So it was just like boom, boom, boom.
That's life, baby. That's
yeah,
how
it was
goes.
like giddy up. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's been so amazing because I was working with you a little bit, like
Mhm.
with personal training, postpartum. And I had been experiencing all of this rage. And like the wild thing about being independent and then bringing a child into the world, like it really forces things that you were not paying attention to surface,
Yeah.
And the last few years have been me integrating a lot of things and doing a lot of soul searching. And
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for my clients.
Yeah.
We get into these chats you and I have,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I come, just as much as I'm giving bits of wisdom to them, they've helped me grow exponentially. So
Yeah.
it's very synergistic, and I don't know, I just love it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, working with people, I work with people too. It's great. It can be therapeutic on both ends, right? Just to help somebody feels good, but then you get that in return sometimes without even knowing it. How much of it would you say, like, yes, you're working on the body, but how much of it is like talk therapy as well?
Yep.
A lot of it, right?
It is. It's a
Yeah.
lot of that. And it's kind of interesting because, I've put it in the back of my head, and I've been in and out of therapy of my own choosing for a very long time. So I've always had a deep appreciation for it.
Yeah.
And I think of people like bartenders, hairdressers, personal trainers, like when you work with the general public in that way, you are kind of like on stage to be helping people talk through stuff, whether it's intended that way or not. And no, I'm not like a certified mental practitioner, but we're all helping each other through these things.
Yeah. You've had experiences, you're a
Mhm.
grown woman now. You've had tons of experiences,
No.
a lot of life, and, to share that with people, it helps,
It does. So in the back of my head, I've wondered if down the line when my body says like, we can't really do this at this velocity anymore, I might go back to school for talk therapy.
Yeah.
And partner it with body work, because I do feel that it's very, very entwined. Muscles store a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
And you've probably experienced that in your practice too, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking with somebody about how people move, like witnessing the way people move, can tell me a lot about what's going on with them emotionally. Whether their hips are trapped or they don't like to move their hips, or they're stiff up in the shoulders. It can tell me about like what they're going through emotionally, and it translates physically. And you could just see that working with people, working with their bodies, you can tell for sure. And that's something I wanted to get into with you actually, was like how the body stores emotions and traumas and stuff, and like how what you do and what other people do, maybe it's a combination. I know for me, like, talk therapy is important, but also working stuff out in my body. I've been doing this practice recently that's sort of like Tai Chi, but not really. It's just like weird movements and, my primal flow stuff, and just kind of moving through in weird ways. It really helps unlock some things. And I notice emotions come up, and I'll sit afterwards and meditate and just feel like what came up and stuff. But I'm sure that actually, like, manually working on people, sometimes you get big releases, not just physically, but emotionally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in the earlier years of my practice, like I really fell in love with shiatsu. It's something I haven't fully kept up on, but I carry a lot of that with me.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the just simple things is that you have a masculine and feminine side to the body.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that my left side was my masculine. Traditionally in Chinese medicine, I believe, unless I'm wrong again, but it's your right side is your masculine.
Yeah.
And when I understood that, I could be working on someone's ankle And the next thing you know, they're talking about their dad.
Yeah.
And or on the left side, they're talking about their mom, or suddenly they're talking about their husband or brother. And like, I pay attention to those things because that's giving me a lot of feedback. And I've gently nudged, because for me, I like to talk through my emotions.
Yeah.
I could sit and talk to a brick wall. It doesn't matter, but
Yeah.
I have to chat it out.
Yeah. Same.
And yeah. And so, having a safe space for people who, some of which I'll never see again. Some
Yeah.
people come in from the city or other places in the world.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of men and women where suddenly they're like, I don't know why I told you that. I don't know why. And I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's totally okay. And if you want to elaborate on that, I'm a safe sounding board for you. I've been that for people. And it's an honor and a gift to be able to hold space for someone like that. Cause it's not just a massage.
Yeah.
It's processing, and it's helping people transition, like high cortisol levels create all of this inflammation. So like you can work out and work out and work out, but if you're not partnering it with this other mental aspect, you're kind of a self-defeating prophecy to a degree. You can only get so far.
Yeah.
So, and to your point with movement, I've always been a part of like the ecstatic dance community.
Sure. Yeah.
I've kind of fallen off of it for a while, but I'm trying to get back into it. But, I do like range of motion type stuff, but when you're moving your body through grief or whatever, and it doesn't have to look good.
Yeah. Right.
You go where those stuck things are, and it just moves through you.
Yeah.
And it's so helpful.
Yes. I've been loving it. And it's not pretty, fancy dance moves. It's like really, it's really weird. Like there's nobody around, but whatever. The ecstatic dance, tell me about that. That's cool. So a bunch of people get together and kind of, it's like a solo trip, but you're with other people.
Yeah.
And everybody's just like a safe space for people to just move and groove that stuff out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I found it, there was a group in Albany, my friend Brian had introduced me to it, and he was like, you got it, you just come, and I'm like, I don't know, but I love to dance. And at the time I was in a sobriety part of my life. So I wasn't drinking, smoking, anything. And I was just kind of like living in Middle Grove in this little apartment in like a kind of cocoon state. And he was like, just come. And I did. And it was a dim lit space. There were probably like 15 people there, and they put on music, and it starts like very slow, like yoga, kind of like whatever. And then it builds a progression, and then it drops like a fish show.
Yeah.
But it's different in the way that it's a sober community. Also, you're not to talk to other people. Like you circle up in the beginning and introduce yourselves and maybe say like a little something. And then it's quiet time. You can make sounds. You can gesture to people. Would you like to dance? But ultimately, you're in your own energetic field within everyone's energetic field.
Yeah.
So it's speaking without using words. And I think that that's so powerful, because I think with the human condition, we tend to sometimes say too much or not enough.
Yeah.
And when you remove that, you're children again.
Yeah.
You're little kids. It doesn't matter if the dance looks good or not.
Yeah.
Like you can be squawking like a chicken and everyone's like, yeah, and you're outside of yourself. And then at the end, we all, circle up and you share your experience. And so again, you're kind of creating that we're all connected motion.
Yeah.
And I just find it to be absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, that sounds really great, for sure. I think that like talk therapy is beneficial. It's something I've been doing, but I have to get in my body and like release things. 'Cause I tend to over intellectualize things, right? Where I'll look and I'll read about psychology and philosophy and religion and all that. And I love it. I love to do it. I feed my head. But, I find myself just like going in loops about like, oh, this is what that is. So you just got to do this. But then, the feelings are still like trapped in your body, and you have to process them intellectually, sure, but you have to move your body or get some manual therapy or something to like help just get it out of you. It's super interesting.
A friend of mine recently passed, and it was on a Wednesday, and the few days, like there were 2 days after that, I was just still in complete shock. And I was like, well, these things happen. And I was just like stuck in my like shock, frozen brain, or just whatever,
Just trying to make sense of it.
Yeah. And And I was coming off very matter of fact. And then that Saturday, I showed up to work on my friend's wife. And I was like, oh, I'm not okay. And I made it through the massage, and I accidentally blabbed a little bit. And I was like, yeah, I gotta clear my day. So I did. And I met up with a friend later on, a mutual friend, and we went to Unified Brewery. And there was a jam band playing, which is my genre for the most part, because I can move to it, you know?
Yeah.
And at the end, I didn't dance at all. And at the end, they played the Ghostbusters theme song.
Nice.
And I paused the conversation I was having with my friend Pat, and I was just like, I'm sorry, I just gotta go do this. And he was like, go, because he knows me and my weirdness. And I got up and nobody's moving. It's and it's senior crowd probably supporting the band. And I just like did the car wash, like noodle guy dance in front of everybody. I didn't care. I put my sunglasses on. And leading up to that moment, I was having a lot of despair and like intrusive thoughts. And I just felt really heavy, and just like I had a lot of old energy living within me all of a sudden. And it was intense. And after that, I was like, woo!
Yeah.
I felt so much better.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get stuck in that headspace and then be like, I'm going to sit on my couch and I'm just not going to move. And, you know, you forget sometimes to like just do something good for yourself.
Yeah. Just wiggle it out.
Yeah.
Do you ever get releases from people when you're working on them?
Yes.
Like, I know we kind of mentioned that before, but like
sucking up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you practice Reiki at all?
No, not intentionally, but energy is energy.
Yeah, you feel it. You're aware. Yeah.
One of the most profound exchanges I had, there are two, but I'll lead with this one. I was doing a home massage at my house, and this person came over and came into my studio and just kind of unloaded some life stuff on me. And I was like, I got it. Okay. And when someone tells me anything about themselves, I'm already designing a map of like, where is this, where is that, and how am I going to manipulate this stuff to come out?
Yeah. That's super cool, by the way.
It's so fun. Yeah. Like, I really enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
And so in the scan, like I get her on the table and we're doing this thing, and, like all of a sudden just intense sobbing started coming out of this person. And I was like, and she was like, just keep going. I was like, okay, I got you. So like I did, I just kept going with it. And at the end, I left her there for about 10, 15 minutes. I was like, please take your time. There is no rush. Like, just sit with yourself and, I'll be downstairs. Yeah. And when they came downstairs, my partner at the time, we were living together, and he watched the exchange, and she just like hugged me where I felt like my soul was going to burst out of my eyeballs. I was like, whoa. And she's like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And there was this high feeling, like of wicked vibration coming off of both of us. 10 minutes after she left, I unraveled in a way that was it was almost like coming off of a drug, where I was like, what is this? And I was emotional, weepy, angry. And I was like, oh, this is energy transference.
For
like,
sure.
This is not mine.
Yeah.
And in my regular practice, I have to remember to do energy expulsion regularly, because I'll go home sometimes and I'm just like, I have nothing to be upset about. Like, my life is actually going pretty well. Why am I feeling this way? And I suck up stuff sometimes, you know, and it's a gift and I love that. But cold water cleanses really help.
Okay. Yeah. I think there's something about like just physical contact and human touch that allows people to let down their walls. And, for me, like a lot of times I don't feel comfortable expressing things to people I don't know. I mean, I'll talk it out, but like put hands on me and it's just like, okay, I can breathe. And like, maybe sometimes I will have like an outpouring of just emotion. Remember the one time I was with this girl, and I'd just gone through like therapy session and dug up some real heavy stuff, and I cried for like an hour, and she just held me. And it was so nice. It was really, really nice. But just that physical contact like allowed me to like just pour out. Is there something to that you've experienced, like where you're just putting hands on somebody, like a warm touch, how that like helps with that?
you can feel sometimes with people where, they'll come in and like ears to their, shoulders to ears. And they're kind of like, I get a lot of hunched shoulders, which in the world of technology logically makes sense. But there's also another side of that where you're guarding your heart.
Yeah.
And people who have like that fearful nature, which is something I've had to work on immensely throughout my life. I'll kind of start face up, so it's less vulnerable, so you can see what I'm doing and you can kind of trust me that way. But I'll push on people's shoulders down into the table to like allow their heart to breathe a little bit and come up for air. And you can feel like a lot of times they'll get like a almost immediately where it's like, touch is very sacred in the way that, like, you might have read about the study done, I think it was like late 1800s, early 1900s, where a doctor was focusing on foster homes or adoption clinics, and there were infants there. And this was around the time of like, teach them to cry it out.
Yeah.
An infant is designed to cry. That's their only means of communication when they need something.
Right.
And so there was a whole generation of children that were strategically taught subconsciously that their voice doesn't matter. Yeah. And a lot of them died because touch is also the secondary first experience you have with connecting with another person. Yeah. So it gives safety, it gives comfort, it's soothing, it's all of those things. And when you don't have that, your body doesn't survive. Yeah. So people ask me too, they're like, like, what about AI? Are you afraid that robots are going to take your job? And I'm like, no, even if they come up with the best massage robot, like, you cannot replace human touch. The warmth that comes and just the energetic connection. Yeah. You're plugging into each other. And that's what makes it so precious, Yeah.
Human connection is definitely one of the pillars of health. I have nutrition, sleep, hydration, and, community, which human touch is part of that, I think, for sure. I've done the massage chairs at the mall, but they're not the same. No. It doesn't work the same. There's something about having somebody working on you and then talking if you want, but also sometimes not talking, just like allowing yourself that time to just completely relax and just melt and let somebody do the work on you. In the non-emotional realm, you also do work with you do medical massage, which is like, that's what I had done when I messed up my shoulder, which, by the way, I got to come see you again because the shoulder's a little janky.
Ready for you.
Yeah. But you dig real deep in there. Like, so how does that work? Like, I'm not familiar with the terminology, but like a classic massage where you're just kind of generally rubbing and getting them to relax and whatever versus like a medical massage.
So, my take on that is like my general foundation is based off of Swedish massage techniques. Okay. There are 6 or 7 steps to that. And you really just want to like palpate, kind of touch, make connection, warm up the tissue, do your effleurage, and then you have like a petrissage, which is, you're pumping the fluids and creating space, and then you're swooping everything back towards the heart. And when you're doing that, you're reoxygenating everything. But when you get into more deep tissue manipulation, some people don't believe in deep tissue at all. They're like, no, soft and slow, myofascial, and I remember this guy, Lou, taught the trigger point therapy course, and his whole thing was just like search and destroy. And I was like, that's my guy.
Search and destroy.
Yes, that's it. Nice. So, you have superficial and deeper muscles. Yeah. And sometimes like the fascia will pull things out of whack. So yes, you can manipulate the fascia, and essentially it should cause the muscles to settle and like reorganize themselves properly. But if you have fascia that's been janking you out of alignment for however long, then you have scar tissue over that due to surgery or whatever, and your muscles are out of whack because now they've been like contorted in a weird way. Yeah. It's very difficult to just like gently massage your way through that. Yeah. You got to go in and be more precise and really allow, like I like to pin it and kind of really like what I did with your shoulder. I really just pinned it with my bony little elbow and just let it sit there. Yeah. And it forces it to kind of like, it's like, no. And then it's like, fine, Yeah. And there's heat that comes out.
Yeah.
I feel that. The client usually feels that. And it's
Yeah.
very overwhelming sometimes. Like
Yeah.
my later massages, I feel bad. I'm like, I'm stinky and I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I've been busy.
I know it's weird that I would be sitting, relaxing on a table and be sweating so much,
Mhm.
but I guess it happens.
Totally. Yeah.
I've always thought that like the ideal recovery day would be like some yoga, a massage, a chiro visit, and then like some PT stuff to just really rework the body where you want it to go, because massage is getting the stuff to kind of relax and let go. But then afterwards, you also have to do some work to like strengthen the weaker muscles that haven't been firing, right? And so it's really a combination of everything. Do you do anything like besides massage in that regard?
So I just got some gua sha tools, and I have like my cupping, so I kind of partner that stuff with it. But as far as like other things, I have my 200-hour certification to teach yoga.
Oh yeah, that's right, you do.
Do I do that? No.
Yeah.
Do I do yoga? Not really. But I talk about how you should do yoga and
Right.
those
Yeah.
things, and that's something that, for the first 5 years of my practice, I've just been so engulfed with like being a mom and focusing on getting my practice going.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what the next 5 years are going to be like, is really expanding my toolbox and getting more reacquainted with yoga, and probably posting up more self-care videos of like different techniques you can do to help yourself along,
Yeah.
whether it's after the massage to prep for massage, for surgery, different things like that.
Yeah.
Um, because you're more powerful than you realize for your own journey. Like, yes, external help is really important. And in our culture, sometimes it's hard to defer to yourself.
Yeah.
It's a lot
Yeah.
easier to be like, I don't have time to research this, to do that, whatever. Here, you do it for me, kind of
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah. And just to piggyback off that, like, I think we outsource a lot of our problems to other people for help. But yeah, you do have to do the work yourself. Like people come and see me as a trainer or a nutrition aide, and they want the answers, and I'll give them suggestions really, but like it's up to you to do that work. So you can come in and get a massage, great, but what else are you doing outside of that to help yourself along, to heal your injury, or to manage chronic stress or whatever it is? Like once a week or once a month is not going to do it.
no.
You got to put the work in. Um, what are some good things that people can do? Like if you had tips on how to maximize, get the most out of your massage, like before, like what do you do before? Because I know that sometimes before I would eat a bunch of CBD and
Mm.
just try to really and well hydrate and just have CBD so that I'm sort of already relaxed when I get here, you know?
That's definitely helpful. I'm a huge fan of cannabis, CBD. Like, yes, do that. I also believe that like the night before you do a massage, magnesium.
Yeah.
Get your magnesium dosage. I've been using Moon Brew, and I feel like I should get a partnership. But I like what they've got, and for whatever reason,
Yeah.
I've had magnesium supplements that don't work as well, and this does. So I
Moon
mean,
brew.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll
It's
check
like
that out.
they have like hot cocoa, chai. They've got all different
Oh,
flavors.
nice.
But I do a cup of that at night,
Yeah.
and that substituted and finally got me off of doing cannabis gummies at night. So
Yeah.
just a little sidestep. But
Yeah.
so magnesium, maybe even a magnesium soak to allow your muscles to relax. Get a really great night's sleep,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of how you do that, preferably not with alcohol.
Right.
Don't eat a lot of fatty foods. Try to eat like a salad or something. It's like gentle soup for your stomach, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
easy to digest. Have a nourishing breakfast in the morning. Drink a lot of water. Maybe splash some like lemon and a little bit of like sea salt,
Mm-hmm.
and roll in that way.
Yeah.
It seems so simple, but speaking out of my own experience, like I have a 2 hour with Dan soon, and I'm going to come in and be like, I didn't do any prep work. And
Yeah.
it'll work,
Yeah.
but for longevity purposes, the more hydrated and nourished you are, that's your sweet spot.
Okay. It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
What about afterwards? Because I've heard people say like don't really work out or don't do anything after.
Yeah. So, and it's funny because like, yes to the PT, like you were saying,
Yeah.
like try these different things for like a relaxing day. Don't like go for like a gentle walk, like a nature walk. Don't go for a hike.
Yeah.
Maybe, if it's wintertime, yeah, go walk the treadmill, maybe do some light dancing or something like that,
Yeah.
but don't crush yourself, because what's going to happen is you feel great. And like you're like, woo, I have all this energy. I feel lighter. I feel whatever. And you can feel like you can take on the world, but you're not used to your body feeling that way. And even in a
Yeah.
few days, you're still going to feel great, but things start to settle. And if you don't change your habits, it goes right back to how it was. And you can really hurt yourself.
Yeah. 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 Because you're moving things where they're not supposed to, well, where they are supposed to be, where they haven't been.
Yes.
So it's going to take some time to readjust to that. So don't go right into a hard workout. Um, when you do massage, you're just like inflaming the body, pretty much, right? Like getting in a good way. Like you're creating blood flow, you're creating inflammation everywhere or wherever you're touching. And then how important is it to like hydrate and work that stuff out and move afterwards? So
Very.
yeah.
Yeah, because you're hitting your lymph, your blood, all of
Yeah.
the fluids in your body are in an uproar, and like your kidneys can sometimes really feel it. Like
Sure.
I have to be careful sometimes with different clients because they can be very sensitive to that.
Yeah.
Um, so again, hydration is really key. And so be careful if, for instance, you do like the hot tub or sauna after a massage, because you could be really dehydrated and
Sure.
not know it.
Yeah.
And it's going to feel good. And then all of a sudden you're going to be like, I don't feel great. And you're going to get
Yeah.
the lightheaded stuff. So it's very important. And sometimes I'll even drink some Pedialyte afterwards if I know I run dehydrated in general.
Yeah.
So, you got to find what works for your body, but it's very important.
Yeah, I've been drinking a gallon of water a day and peeing so much, but I do feel lighter. I just did a half marathon recently,
I saw
and
that.
yeah, it was really really hard. It was like 8 miles uphill, and I went through so much internally and physically that I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. And I could not stop drinking water, but it felt really great to just eat clean and train for that thing. It was really I like having goals, to set up for, and to train for. It just keeps me on track and on focus.
Yeah.
What are some of your goals? Like, it could be bigger. It doesn't have to be like on paper, like whatever. But what are you trying to do in the next little bit, 5 years, let's say, to kind of expand your practice or deepen your knowledge or anything like that?
Yeah, so my CEUs up until this point have been very kind of like bland, to be honest. It's
Yeah.
just like I'll just pay, take the online course and do that.
Yeah.
Um, but now that the rest of my life is finally like more structured and I have better, more time to dabble, I really want to explore learning more polyvagal therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to do more like in myofascial release, craniosacral holds, and probably get back into shiatsu or Thai massage.
Yeah.
Those are things that I really want to integrate into my practice. And also herbology.
Oh yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I have been working with a client of mine who is a web designer, and he's been really kind of coaching me along, but just be on the lookout for Miss Rose Wellness.
Okay.
That's my
All right.
website, and
Nice.
I really want to start focusing more on like a full package of things for my clients to, whether it's mental, spiritual, physical, whatever, I want to expand in that direction. So,
Hell yeah. That's
yeah.
cool. What kind of like herbs and potions and elixirs and stuff do you use with your clients? Because I know arnica has helped me quite a bit with just like muscle soreness, and I've got this lotion that has like copper, magnesium, arnica, CBD. It's like loaded with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use anything like that?
Yeah.
So you got a bunch of oils up there.
Yeah. I've got my oil collection. So I use a lot of essential oils. I love
Mhm.
frankincense. It's
Yeah.
great for everything. So, and it smells lovely.
Yeah.
I do use arnica on a regular basis. It's in the cream that I have. And I love that stuff. I wish I knew what the name of the brand was, like Sacred something, but it's extremely hydrating. It has like gentle chamomile for soothing. There's no lavender. I have a love-hate relationship with lavender.
Me too. I don't know. There's something about lavender that I like it, but in small doses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It's people use a lot of it. It's overwhelming. It's not for me.
It always has like this ammonia smell to it that reminds me of cats, and I'm like,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I use like rose oil. I use in teas and things like that. I love lemon balm. I think that
Mm.
that has a lot of healing properties. It's great for your heart. It's great for tonifying your body. Um, and I'm still kind of expanding in that direction. So
Yeah.
I used to have an arsenal of those things,
Yeah.
but it kind of has gone to the wayside. If you don't use it, you kind of lose it.
Sure.
Um,
But you're going to be getting more into that with.
yeah, for sure. And like I've been a client of mine makes this magic potion lotion is what she calls it. She's like, I'm
Yeah.
not sold on that name, but it's cannabis, and
Yeah.
it's coconut oil, which is a great antimicrobial. It's a great lubricant. It's moisturizing, hydrating. And it works well with the body, but with the cannabinoid receptors we have, I love using cannabis externally.
Mm-hmm.
I just find that it works great for muscle pain, joint relief.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I do stuff like that, but the magnesium
Yeah.
on the skin is really great. Copper, like you were saying, those
Yeah.
are all really wonderfully, made to work with your body. They're
Yeah.
all components we naturally have. Zinc is another one.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's in there too, actually.
Yeah.
It's like 30/30 or 35/30 or something. I don't know. It got advertised to me on Instagram, and
Sold.
I'm a sucker for that stuff. Yeah, so.
That's how I found Moon Brew.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you're getting into that. You also mentioned that you want to get into therapy maybe afterwards, like some sort of somatic therapy, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I follow a couple of people and I just bought a somatic package. So there's like 4 different branches to it. I haven't dug into it yet, but that's kind of on my winter dashboard.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about it because like ironically, like people have asked me, how do you have longevity to do what you do all day? And
Yeah.
for me, I'm realizing my massage practice is my somatic experience. I'm pushing, I'm pulling, I'm
Yeah.
doing these slow, bendy movements a lot, and it activates my subtle body.
Yeah.
And I love that. So to learn more about how to decrease and to regulate myself, like decrease cortisol and regulate myself, I would love to partner that with massage and do 50-50 sessions of, somatics and massage, or with the polyvagal stuff too, teaching people about the nervous system, how your emotions actually work and engage these other components of you and help
Yeah.
you to regulate, because it's all encompassing, it's all connected.
Yeah. Yeah. I know breath work is very powerful. I had Sarah Hutcherson. Do you know her?
No.
She's a local girl that does breath work, and she talks a lot about nervous system regulation. And that is sort of somatic, right? I mean, it's in your body, you're breathing, and you're feeling things and creating this awareness. But I feel like with the added component of touch and talk, like that'd be powerful, right?
Yeah.
That's what I feel like I need.
I'm working on it. No.
Yeah, well, let's go. I'm
Okay.
ready. I'll be one of your first people. But I'm a big fan of like the most bang for your buck that you can get, right? So I do like the medical massages where you get right in there and like get to the source of the problem and go for it. With my workouts, they're pretty much these days. I'm not going to get big or anything. It's more functional movement and therapeutic, honestly, and just to kind of work on my imbalances and stuff. But I'm a big fan of like bang for your buck, and I do feel that like we talked about before, people just hold things in their body, and it's not enough just to talk about it. You really have to move through it and get some assisted therapy, and somatic therapy is something I'm looking into. My friend told me about EDMR. You familiar with that?
EMDR.
Is that right?
EMDR. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
EDM is music.
Yep. That's why I had to slow down. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, no. Yeah, that's really powerful stuff. I actually
Yeah.
have a client who is a practitioner, and he's looking for clients. I can give you his card at the end if
Okay.
you want to pick his brain. He might be a
Yeah.
good person to interview too. He's a really cool guy.
Cool. Yeah.
But yeah, that's not something you can achieve with just certifications. That's why I won't go that route. But really, really
It's powerful. Is it like inner child work?
It's a lot of inner child. So like you'll start with like the root of a family of origin thing, or you can start anywhere really, but it'll all inevitably dial back to your childhood.
As it always does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I could be, a little off with this, but essentially what you're doing is you're focusing on a root issue, and you're using eye movement and light, I believe, to kind of reprogram the neural pathways in your brain and allow yourself to like experience it and move through it.
Yeah.
And it's so non-invasive and
Yeah.
seemingly so insignificant, but it's very, very potent.
Yeah. I've also really wanted to try psychedelic assisted therapy.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I read Michael Pollan's book, How to Change Your Mind.
Mm-hmm.
And, he talks about all the different a few of the different psychedelics and, some of the research that's popping up. And so that's making a wave, and hopefully coming through. I know Ibogaine has been pretty big with like people dealing with PTSD and stuff like that. But, without going that route, I feel like there's so many different modalities out there, this being one of them. Movement and body work and all that just can be so therapeutic. And I know we've talked about that a lot, but it really is worth talking about because, there's routes that you can go. It doesn't have to be just a Zoom call with a therapist. You can utilize your community, utilize the things that they're doing, and get therapy that way, in many different ways. I like to just go out in nature. So like maybe, how cool would this be? A little bit of yoga with massage and breath work, and then like some meditative therapy, like inner child work out in nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've always, I see this as like my 50-year-old self, but like a wellness center. I've always wanted to do like a multi-practitioner rental kind of solution-based thing, and have property to go do that and integrate all of these different things because like nature is so important.
Yeah.
And there was someone that posted up about the redwood trees recently out in California and how like their roots are very shallow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And they actually lean on each other.
Yeah,
so it's
share.
an interconnected workway. And that's why they can be so significantly tall. They're leaning on each other from a foundational level. And I just thought that was so profound to consider.
Yes.
Whereas in our society, we are currently leaning more on like superficial connection due to technology and all of that stuff. And how different would it be if we were to kind of like ground and meet ourselves in that place,
Yeah. I think that'd be great. Instead of going online for an answer, there's people in your community that you can physically meet, have contact with, and share, because there's so many people. Like I know we were trading massage for training, and I do that with other people. I do trades for different services and stuff. And that's what we're talking about, right? Like leaning against one another and helping each other out. I think it's super important to do that.
Agreed. I have those mechanisms too, and it's community building. It's getting to know each other and like, I don't know. I think that's the whole point, isn't it? Like community. Unify that way. So
let's make that the 2026 thing, the tagline.
Sounds good.
So you play music too. Yeah.
I'm a singer, so other people play music and I sing to it, but
that's cool. So like you said, Circus Cafe back in the day, that's where I used to play. Those are my old stomping
remember.
grounds. Yeah, I used to play till like 2 or 3 in the morning. That was so fun, but also very therapeutic. Do you feel like that singing and just like belting stuff out helps you?
Big time.
Yeah.
I am I'm a nicotine junkie, so like that's been my biggest struggle over the last several years, I would say. And like the core of it is that I want to take deep breaths and I like seeing the physical release of that. With singing, I don't get caught up on, I'm taking deep breaths and I'm meditating or whatever. I'm just in an emotion and I'm in a moment, you know what I mean? So music has saved me more times than I can count. And singing has been my meditation practice, to be honest.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get into that flow state.
Yeah.
And it's one thing, like you can get in the flow state with movement or, skiing or any kind of activity or something where you're totally just focused on that one thing that's in front of your face, right? But with music, it's not just you, it's like a group flow state. I thought this was the coolest thing. When I used to jam with people, and jam band music, like we were talking about earlier, is cool because it's a mix of like rock and jazz and whatever, but it gets it to this improv stage where you're just going. There's no chart in front of you. You're just playing and you're vibing off of each other, and you just forget about everything else, and it's so meditative, but also so cool. If somebody does something awesome, you're like, yeah. It's just like the level just keeps going up and up and up, and it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. I completely agree. And it's so funny. Like, we screw up more when things are going well in our group because we're like, oh my God, that sounds so good. And then like, or you get lost in the jam and then I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing something, but it's so fun. And it does, again, it brings out that like inner child aspect of play. Like you're playing and you're letting go of all of this other like dumb stuff that, we impose on ourselves or each other.
Yeah.
And it's just a beautiful container for self-expression and connection and, meditation, really.
Yeah.
So, and like with our music, it's a kirtan jam band.
Cool.
So it's very unique. I can't say that I've heard anything like it. Kirtan is fun. It's a lot of call and response. So the lyrics are a mix of English and Sanskrit.
Mm-hmm.
So you might not know what you're saying. And like, I went into it with a completely open mind and was like, I don't care. I'm in a band. Like, I want to do this. Like, I get to sing. Sweet.
Yeah.
And it's very structured. There's 3 components that make up one song and it's a progression. So it starts out slow usually and comes down. And it's so repetitive that it's catchy, and I've just had such a great time doing that, and I kind of lost my train of thought, but it's like it's really cool.
It is cool. Yeah. I had somebody on last week, my friend Tess, or 2 weeks ago, and she does sound healing, and she was talking about just the different frequencies of music and how they can affect your body, and how we kind of tune in based on how like our frequency is, and that can be different from day to day, but like I was talking about how like blues music, if I'm upset or sad or something, like I'll listen to the blues and it resonates with me, and it doesn't make me sink any deeper, but it doesn't bring me up, and it just sits nice and like soothes my soul. It's a hug. It's a nice warm hug. It's like, okay, I'm not the only one that's down on their luck or whatever. But then other times it'll be like some uplifting music, like reggae is really nice if it's a nice sunny day and you're just feeling happy and joyful. It's like reggae. Do you feel that too? Like
totally
different types of music for different vibes?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In my household growing up, like we didn't talk about feelings very much,
Yeah.
but both of my parents had very different tastes in music. And my favorite way to connect with my mom in particular was through music.
Yeah.
So, and it reflected emotional states. So I caught on to that at a very young age of like, and when I look back too, I was always like the upbeat, like, and I would bypass emotions.
Yeah.
Through listening to more upbeat stuff because I was like, I don't want to feel that. Like, let's keep it on the A side,
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's very therapeutic, and I don't know much about the frequencies. Like, I understand that different hertz have different engagement, and I fully agree with that. So, like, just as much as you can match a mood, you can kind of pull yourself in and out of states as well. So you have to be kind of careful. I've learned.
For sure.
I used to listen to a lot of emo music and like sad girl stuff, and I was like, I'm so and it showed. Like, I felt that. And then when I started switching out to jam bands, I was like, oh, you can be sad and happy. Like, it's so sweet.
Yeah, I think one of my mottos with Greenfork is you are what you eat, but you are also what you listen to, like what you take in, the people you surround yourself with. So you got to be careful about the stuff that you're just kind of, even if it's on in the background, just be careful about what that is, because it can affect you. Talking about bypassing, I feel like I'm more sensitive to that now, where I won't do that.
Yep.
It's like, no, I don't want to listen to that like happy stuff on the radio. Like, I'm not feeling that right now. I need like something a little more mellow or whatever. Or if I'm running, I need like beats. So I think it's cool to like, just as we get older, start to become more sensitive and more aware about what we're taking in, and then adjust accordingly.
Discernment has been a very key word for me over the last 4 or 5 years, where I'm like, I'm really understanding what that means, like to make better decisions for myself, and understanding like what might feel good in the moment isn't always setting you up for the best outcome, and that goes with so many different things, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you have to be really intentional and integral with what it is that you're doing. And again, like, these are easy words to like say and conceptualize.
Yeah.
And I've caught myself intellectualizing these things where I'm like, I got it. And then like, there comes the bypass again, where I'm like, oh, and there it goes, so it's fine tuning and refining that. And I love that part about maturing and getting older, is that I'm like, you can pay me to do my 20s again. It was a time, and I learned I had so much material to gain knowledge from.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, you're building the swamp, and then you get older, and you like start dredging the swamp out. You're like, wait a minute, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, okay, let's go back and fix that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've enjoyed getting older, and the process is never ending. You know, like I said, with the body and with the mind and the spirit, it's like just when you think you got it licked or you think everything's going okay, like the world just pours on you, externally, internally, whatever, and you got to kind of work your way through it. And I've learned to not say fight your way through it, because it's not a fight. It's like, just, you know, you got to get through it. I don't know.
I think there's a lot of relevance to that, you know, and I've been reflecting on like my earlier years where the fight, like, yeah, let's fight it, we'll fight, you know, and it's like, I wonder if we spend certain parts of our lives in specific trauma states. Like there's the fight or flight response where, you know, in my 20s, teens and 20s, I can totally identify with like, oh, I can drive now. I don't have to be a part of this. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Or being like, no, you're wrong. And being really intense and having all of that, you know, like youthful energy to make a point or to stand my ground
Yeah.
And now in my 30s, I feel like I'm more in like the fawn and freeze era where like, I don't have the energy to fight with you. Like, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to fight with myself. Like that's exhausting.
Yeah.
But now I'm dancing through this other aspect of myself where I'm like, oh, like, yes, it's good to kind of like withdraw and like reflect, but you're not supposed to stay there for too long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just been an interesting kind of thought I've had. Do you see any of that with yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it's discernment, right? It's picking your battles, you know, where like sometimes you do need to kind of stand up and put up boundaries and say like, no, I'm not going to accept that, or I'm not going to do that. But then other times it's, you know, okay, where can I learn from this? You know, maybe I'm not all the way right. Where can I compromise? You know, in relationships or whatever, or even just career or whatever. It's like, okay, if something isn't working, I'm not going to try to push up against it. I'm not going to fight that battle. I'm going to try to, you know, retreat for a little bit, think it out, and then, you know, make a new path, you know? So there's a little bit of both. Like sometimes you do have to fight still, but you know, it works different. You have to look at a problem differently and try to analyze it and then attack, or sit through whatever it is, let that pass, and then choose your path from there. That makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I agree. And I've been coming up with the analogy, like I'm not a gamer by any stretch of the measure, but I've watched people play video games.
Yeah.
And I keep starting to kind of reflect on the analogy of life as like a video game.
Sure.
You're playing this game of life. And you go through these segments where there are definite checkpoints. You know, I think of like Crash Bandicoot even. Like you miss the box, you get run over, whatever, and you're boom, right back at this checkpoint.
Yeah.
And I feel like for a long time I got stuck at the same checkpoint.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the game's defective. Like what's going on? Like this is everything else's fault. Like something's wrong.
Victim. Yeah.
Totally. And you know, in the last several years, I've really come around to the recognition that like, if you're stuck on the same level, it's probably you.
Yeah.
And you're being given an opportunity to try different ways to get out of the escape room or whatever the level is. And you're fortunate to have that time and space to do that. But the idea is to continue progressing.
Yeah.
And, you know, so like change it up, look at it through a different lens, maybe talk to the information witch over here and see if she has any pearls of wisdom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then continue progressing and see where the journey goes.
Yeah.
You know?
Rely on your community.
Yeah.
You know?
Pull out the cartridge and blow on it, put it back in. But yeah.
Sort of the question I ask everybody.
Sure.
Switching gears a little bit. It's a food related thing. And I know I didn't prep you for this, but it's good. So let's say you were on death row for whatever reason. Doesn't matter how you got there.
Well, I'm a straight gangster, that's why.
Gee, probably murked somebody.
Clearly.
But yeah, you're there and you get one last meal.
Okay.
What's it going to be? It could be anything. It could be as much of anything that you want. It could be several different things. But what is it that you would have for your last meal on earth?
Man, that's a hard question. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. I'll start with this. Like
Okay.
I had 3 things pop into my head, so I'll go with that. Maybe 4. a steak from the old school TGI Fridays with the Jack Daniel's sauce and the steak fries and broccoli.
Nice.
Why? It came up in conversation recently, and that shit was good.
Yeah.
My mom's sweet potato pie, killer.
Yeah.
And do you remember the food fight scene from Hook?
Oh yeah, with all the colorful foods and stuff. Yeah.
Everything that came from that and thereafter. That meal always hit me well, but
that's funny. That's cool. That's cool.
Those are the three things that came up.
Everything that was on the table in Hook. Yeah, that's awesome.
Because it just looked dank, everything about it. But, I think there was like a turkey spread, biscuits and gravy and all. I like soul food.
Yeah, comfort food. Right?
Yeah, I'm a big comfort food fan. I'm not a big red meat eater, but every once in a while, like a well-cooked steak is beautiful.
For sure.
For
sure. We were talking about comfort food on my last podcast because I'm doing it's called Food is Mood, and it's how food and nutrition can affect your mental health with everything from, your gut regulation, your blood sugar regulation, blood-brain barrier, malnutrition. But we were talking about comfort food and like what makes comfort food comforting, right? And a lot of the things that we reach for, depending on where you're from and what culture you're from, unfortunately for us, it's like Pop-Tarts and garbage food, right?
Totally.
Like processed things. I've learned over the years to kind of switch that up to like, instead of a can of Campbell's chicken noodle soup, I want like real good bone broth that I've made myself. And maybe make some chicken noodle soup, but just the broth would be great. So I went from like, the processed, super salty, sugary, whatever, to like the real deal.
Yeah.
And it just, there's something about it that really like makes you feel comforted and at ease, similar to when you lay down on a massage table. It's like,
Totally. And I can say all I want that that stuff would be my comfort food. Like I just made chicken noodle soup the other night in my Instant Pot, and there's something about putting a whole it is. Yeah. But there's something really awesome about putting a whole bird in and with like all of your favorite spices, herbs, whatever, and like I feel like a witch, and I'm like, this is going to be really good for me, and then I can share it with all of my friends, and like I'm making them feel good, and it's good for your body, it's good for your nervous system, you're going to sleep great, so I've been much more mindful over the last 10, 15 years of those sort of things, and I couldn't agree more. Food, like I have ADHD, and I was very late diagnosed, and I am so much better when I'm eating high protein, clean, not as much sugar. There have been periods where I cut out pretty much every sugar. I don't eat store-bought salad dressings. I make a lot of my own stuff. But then I go in seasons where I start getting the processed food, and I can tell like the brain fog is insane.
For sure.
Dairy, that's another one. Yeah. I got hit with the dairy thing over the summer. I was like, oh,
me too.
I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, dairy and like really glutinous things, like a lot of it. I can have like a little bit of ice cream, but if I drink a glass of milk, forget about it. I'm toast.
I grabbed an iced coffee from Whole Foods, and in my head still I'm like, oh, Whole Foods, it's going to be healthy no matter what I grab.
Yeah.
That's not true.
No.
It had sweetened condensed milk in it. Best iced coffee I've ever had, but I was like, oh my God, why am I in pain? And then 2 days after that, my daughter was standing in the kitchen, and I had fed the dog, and I went to put the food like on the floor, but I had so much brain fog and inflammation. I put the food up in the cupboard and went to turn around and walk away. And I was like, and she's standing there watching me. She's 4. And she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, this is from dairy?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So,
like we talked about, getting older has some benefits, but also like, holy crap, do you just get loopy sometimes? And like so sensitive to, like I said, sensitive to moods or music or whatever, but also food.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, that was great. If people want to get a massage or reach out to you for anything, where can they find you?
They can find me, Melissa Rose Massage, on Instagram. I'm also Melissa Rose on Facebook. You can go to Booksy. That's our booking site. We're on there. I'm under Centered Massage.
Okay.
So we're just a Google away, or you can contact me via cell 518-912-1567.
Cool.
So.
And Miss Rose,
Wellness.
Miss Rose Wellness. Be on the
Yeah.
lookout for that. That'll be super cool.
I'm excited.
I'm excited for that too for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah,
and
thank you
talking.
for having me.
This should be awesome. A lot of cool information. And good to talk to you.
You too.
Yeah,
it's been a minute.
Yeah, for sure. I got to get in. You got to check out this shoulder.
Got you.
And I feel like my hip is jacked up too from all this running and everything.
Get in that psoas.
Yeah, for sure. I know that needs work. But thanks for coming again. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Stay healthy, my friends.